An AEW Champion is working injured. Plus, we have the backstage reaction to Edge joining AEW, and Adam Copeland's new nicknames have been revealed. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. Weird old time for the AEW International Championship. Moxley was the champ just the other week. He faced Fenix in what was set to be just another title defense, but Moxley got hurt during the match, an audible was called, and Rey Fenix left as international champ. But here's the thing. Fenix is injured as well. He talked about it on Instagram, didn't he, Adam?
Yeah, saying the International Championship has been a big challenge. The night I became champion, I left the arena with the championship in my hands and with an old injury bothering me again. My first defense was painful. It did not allow the pain to stop me and continue until the fight was over. This coming Wednesday will be my second defense, and I'm doing my best to enter that ring and retain the championship. I will defend this beautiful championship in any situation. A luchador does not give up. A luchador will always leave everything in every battle. I am a real luchador and the man of 1,000 lives. Nothing and no one is going to stop me. R3YF3N1X, which is his hacker name.
It's his
It's his leaked name.
It can either be his hacker name, his password for LinkedIn, or his car reg. All of them. Fenix was written out of that four-way that we saw on Sunday, that belter of a four-way. Wrestle Dream. There was concerns that he might have exacerbated the injury in question, but really it was a creative way of getting him out and letting him have the night off, essentially, because he was haggard going into it, and they want to try and save him for Wednesday. Tough break for all involved.
Good. I was chatting to Andrew about this yesterday. I want him to have a lengthy reign because when an accidental title change happens, and it's so rare for that to happen, I don't think it helps the wrestler who has accidentally won this championship, to pretty much immediately take the belt off them. Like, Ray's great, right? So give him a few months with it at least. The problem is you can't necessarily do that because he is so banged up.
Yeah.
If he's that banged up, should he have been having the match in the first place? I blame Rick Knox.
I think a lot of people do at the moment, to be honest. That's a very valid point there. Obviously, we send our best. I have a feeling that Wednesday, I think they might take the belt off him.
Yeah, I think it's pretty likely.
I think, and that's no disrespect to Fenix at all. I think he's brilliant. But if he's injured, let the guy rest. Seriously.
Well, was he hurt going into this match?
He was. From what I understand, he was hurt going into it. He got hurt during it, not as bad as Mox. And then he said he wrestled that match against Jarrett and just said he was in agony all the way through. It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It is awful for him.
Yeah.
He's so good as well. John Moxley's status has a question mark over it. We saw him very busy during Wrestle Dream on commentary. He's set to be a part of Wrestling Revolver on Saturday, which is the promotion that he runs with Sammy Callahan. I tried to find out from Callahan what the status is of John Moxley. You can hear what he said on the Cultaholic podcast feed this morning. Good to chat to Sammy Callahan. Recently left Impact Wrestling. His contract was up and he is now a free agent. So we talked about the moment from Impact that he's proud of and what his plans are. Now he's back out in the free agent market for the first time in like a decade. So lovely exclusive chat with Sammy Callahan waiting for you on the podcast.
Don't give too much away, but what are his plans? Has he given any sort of indication? He must be pretty happy promoting the events, right?
He's wide open to everything. Wrestling's always been his passion. He also talks about wanting to make a documentary about one particular wrestler.
Oh!
Yeah! Go bit on the podcast feed, you cheeky devil. Speaking of free agents, Adam Copeland wasn't on the market for too long, was he? About 12 minutes, I reckon, before he signed on the dotted line with AEW. What's been the temperature backstage at both camps about Adam Copeland's new job?
It's pretty bloody hunky-dory, to be honest, Tom. Fightful Select giving us an update on the backstage reaction to the former Edge. It's going to take a while to get used to calling him Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
There's too many Adams already in AEW. Adam Elite Wrestling. It's like What Culture in 2016. Right.
We should change your name to Gregory Pacitti.
There's only one Adam here. We don't need to now, Tom.
I think all the more reason to.
Right.
Just for fun.
One's too many.
One's too many.
So, unanimously positive reactions to Copeland joining the company. In addition to being around full-time in AEW, they were told that Copeland will have a significant presence within the company and has expressed his willingness to help in a variety of capacity. One longtime AEW talent spoke about Copeland filling the gap that CM Punk left behind, in that he'll be helpful, but not cause any issues internally. That person did reiterate that Punk himself had been helpful to many within the company as well. And that is worth remembering because a lot of talent came out and said, hey, Punk always had his ear open. Is that an expression? He was always there to listen and help. So that is worth remembering. Regarding the theme, got an update on that. WWE never held exclusive licensing rights to the song. Fightful Select confirming that. However, there were some surprised people within AEW that WWE had allowed the Rated R Superstar trademark to lapse and didn't bother to renew it when it became clear that he was going to leave.
You thought you'd have written that dead quick, wouldn't you? Get that signed up. That when you're having that over there.
Speaking of backstage reactions, within WWE, they're all pretty hunky-dory with it, aren't they? They're all, the overwhelming consensus was a positive within AEW and a happy for him within WWE, which is not, he's really loved, isn't he?
Yeah,
fair play. He's got it like. He said on Instagram, Edge said on Instagram, Adam Copeland said on Instagram that he'd basically just done as much as he could possibly do in WWE, and he's spot on. Like, what else was there for him to do? So this is new challenges, a new roster to work with, some familiar faces, some not so familiar faces. I think it's a really great thing, and it's cool to. Part of me thinks that because they let that theme expire. Sorry, not that theme. Sorry, the Rated R Superstar nickname. They let that expire. Part of me thinks that they didn't bother renewing it because they like him so much. This is pure speculation, right? He is really, really liked. And normally they are hot on that stuff.
Yeah.
It's rare that they drop the ball. It has happened, but it is rare. They've got reminders set up, haven't they? They're going to say, Alexa, set a reminder. Renew Edge's trademark. So I don't know there. So some with it. Sorry, I'm blabbing on here. Go on, Tom.
No. I'm enjoying you. I'm enjoying your conversation about it. It's good. You're having a lovely conversation. Some within WWE. Some within WWE have said, according to Fightful, it became obvious to them at the start of the summer that Edge wasn't coming back. One AEW talent said they were not officially clued in, but it was the worst kept secret in wrestling. Talent on both sides said that Adam Copeland jumping ship was going to be a thing back in mid-August, and sources that had worked with Copeland spoke as if it was a fact before his last WWE match that he was going there. I think we'd even speculated that maybe once he wrapped up with WWE, maybe he'd go over to AEW, maybe do that final tag match with Christian Cage. It's one of those sort of rare occasions where you don't mind somebody who's a bit further along in their career going over to another company and making a few more chapters in their book. I think he suits it. I've seen a few people online saying like, oh, AEW hiring another old WWE wrestler. And I think the age thing, I think, is a bit of a misnomer here, because there's a photo doing the rounds and it's Hogan and Edge from 2002. And the caption is that Edge is 8 years older than Hogan was when he debuted in WCW.
Right, okay.
So there was like, oh, well, he's too old. I think there's a big difference between, actual age and TV age. And bear in mind that Edge wasn't on TV for about 8 to 10 years.
No, Edge.
I think he's younger TV years wise than he is.
Yeah,
compared to most.
Like yeah.
So there was such a big gap where we didn't have him.
He doesn't look it either.
No, he doesn't carry himself that way.
If I were a young person, which I'm not, and I tuned in and I saw Edge, I wouldn't think, who's that old fella?
Yeah.
I was thinking that in like 1991 with Hogan. I don't want to bag on Hogan. But with Edge, he's you're totally right. He was away for such a long time, so let him do it a little bit more. And it's different, isn't it? Like Edge hasn't really stolen the spotlight from anyone when he came back.
No.
The problem with older part-timers is when they do a Goldberg, and I'm not blaming Bill Goldberg for this. He was booked to win the world title. That's the issue, isn't it? You take the attention away from young talent, and I don't think Edge has done that once since his return. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's not what Edge is about.
The one thing I've seen people have issue with is the fact that his last 2 matches in WWE were wins. Because
That's true. The Finn Balor thing. No, that's a fair point.
He beat Finn. Oh, the last couple. Then he beat Finn Balor. He beat Grayson Waller, and he beat Sheamus on his way out.
Oh yeah.
The whole argument that you go out on your back, like you go out in a loss, but WWE again. It comes back to what you said. That WWE obviously really like Edge. If the optics were there that Edge was going, regardless, they still made the decision to have him beat Sheamus in Toronto on his way out.
Yeah.
That
Sheamus
wouldn't.
thing's fine. Sheamus is old as well. The Grayson Waller, the Finn Balor, maybe that was a mistake, but hey, it's probably not Edge's choice, is it?
No.
I'm going over Grayson Waller.
Yeah, he hasn't demanded that one.
That's a fair point.
Back to Fightful. WWE sources that we spoke to claim that Adam Copeland left on good terms and would be welcomed back into the company if he ever returned. The overwhelming consensus was a positive within AEW and a happy for him type status within WWE. Something to remember as well, if you're one of those that feels like Adam Copeland somehow betrayed you by going to the show that you don't like as much.
Don't even bring him up, Tom.
You know, but
Tossers, it's just boring, isn't it? It's so boring. It's all wrestling. And whinging about tribalism is as boring as tribalism itself at this point. I don't care. Just watch what you like, you sad twats.
Hey! I want to talk about Adam Copeland's new nicknames.
These are dreadful. Some trademarks have been registered by Adam Copeland himself. Well, go on, Tom. I can't even bear to read these.
Right. Your first one is legend.
Oh, like legend.
Legend. So the word edge is hidden in there, so you can have some fun with highlighting some letters in the middle. See what you did there.
We used to say that in high school. He's a proper legend. But you
legend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, legend as well.
Proper legend. Cope. Which is obviously there's an issue with Sega there because Cope features very prominently in the Spring Yard Zone on Sonic 1. There's a picture of it there. That's a joke just for Tom. You're welcome.
I hope he enjoyed it. Nobody else did.
I had a great time.
People say that, don't they? Seethe, cope. It's like when you wind somebody up, cope.
Yeah.
I think.
Here's some copium for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's better.
There you go. The these. Rogue.
Loves World of Warcraft.
Because that's it.
The Rogue.
And Iconoclast. For those who aren't up, an iconoclast is someone who attacks or criticizes cherished beliefs or institutions. Also, somebody who destroys images used in religious worship. So I guess
it's wanky. It is, isn't it?
He's going to burn some. He's going to burn some of those Mel Coleman pictures that Don Callis has. He's just going to set fire to them. You iconoclast.
Nobody knows what it means, do they? But well, thank you for the definition.
That's right.
It's like he's read like a Dan Brown book or something and go, yeah, that's the one. That sounds good, doesn't it? I love Edge. Adam Copeland. I love him. I don't like any of those. Cope's all right. If he spears someone and then he goes, Cope, that's fine. I can deal with that.
9 pitches for WWE Fastlane coming up on the channel this week, plus predictions for Fastlane as well, and you and Andrew are live reacting?
Yeah, I'm on everything this week.
You're a busy boy.
I think I've got one day off the news. I'm doing pictures. I'm doing the podcast, predictions. I'm a busy boy. So if you don't like me, it's a bad week for you. And I hope you don't.
You're putting all the hats on. What happened at and the WTF moments for Fastlane, all coming up on the channel throughout the week as we get set for another weekend of professional wrestling premium live eventicles.
I don't drive. I don't know.
Get out of the way, you know. The Fastlane. We'll have more wrestling news throughout the day as well at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye. Cope.